Good morning, guys. Welcome to Wednesday's Badass Training. Good morning, my friends. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to be able to connect with you today. So, if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents heal their trauma, know themselves, and create happy relationships in their life. I call that happiness after codependency. That's my big goal for you guys there. So, today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about reclaiming your experience. That means getting yourself back in some very specific areas in your world. So before I do that, I need to share this out to the community. So I'm going to pop out here real quick and do that. Let me know in the comments below how you guys are doing. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, thank you guys for doing that. I finally crossed 1,000 subscribers, and we've been growing pretty steadily there. Also, if you're looking for a safe haven on the internet, go to the community. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. It says the community. Just click on it. You can join there. It's where you can find a safe haven to get guidance, coaching, tools, and support. People that are going through the same thing you're going through, that have experienced what you've gone through and healed from it. People who are in the middle of all of that are going to be there to support you and guide you along with me. So we've got your back there. So we're excited to have you there, and I've got that shared out now. So just make sure it's done. Yes, excellent. So today we're going to be talking about reclaiming yourself, specifically your experience. So that's kind of maybe a bland title, but the real key here, the real issue on this one, is reclaiming our pain, reclaiming the validity of our experience in what we've gone through. Because in codependency, we have a habit of bypassing ourselves. We have a habit of ignoring the experience we're having emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically, because we're invested in their world. We're invested in what they think and what they feel and what they're going through. And what this does is I call this external orientation. It's where our intention and attention, and affection are focused in their yard, not in ours. And so we become disconnected from ourselves. We're unable to recognize our own experience. And if we're unable to do that, we're unable to heal. We're unable to identify our own feelings, our own boundaries, our own wants, our own needs, our own voice, our own value, our own vision, our own inspiration and intuition. Instead, we bypass them. We discount them. We treat them as less or non-important. Sometimes we actively shame them or try to get rid of them. We try to void ourselves of them because, if I feel this way and I voice it, I'm going to lose this connection, this attachment, this love I have with this person. That makes sense. I get that. When I was growing up, it was really a transactional experience. I was loved when I did something that people liked or wanted me to do. But I wasn't really enjoyed for my presence. I wasn't enjoyed for my existence. If I wasn't doing something, I didn't feel like I existed. And so, especially doing something that pleased the other person. And so I became very fixated on getting the approval of others so I could feel valid, I could feel alive, I could feel worthy, I could know myself, and ultimately I could feel safe. And in healing this trauma, this neglect trauma here, it was really about reclaiming the validity of my experience, the emptiness, the loneliness, the sadness that's there, the grief that's there, that you're just alone. That was a dominant aspect of my childhood, was just being alone. That they didn't have a lot of friends I didn't have a lot of friends. A lot of times, especially early in my life, it was just me. And then it was, sometimes I'd get, my parents would play with me or some other person would play with me and have some attention and some time. But often it was just me. And that encoded in me a pattern of just not feeling seen and not feeling alive, feeling real. And this is very, very common for survivors of narcissistic abuse, for survivors of a codependent relationship, because we aren't valued for who we are. We aren't even recognized in it. We're recognized for what we do, but not for who we be. And that leads us into this carrot chasing experience of chasing their approval and chasing love and trying to earn it. I call that transactional value. Transactional love is another term for it. This is a valid experience. Reclaiming our experience from that allows us to start to know ourselves, because our experience is physical. It's here in the body. And we need to understand that experience in order to get reconnected to the validity of our reality, of our realness, of our actual existence. This empowers our healing. So it's a very physical, or what's called somatic, experience in this. And so when I talk about reclaiming experience, it's about believing what we went through, number one, and two, legitimizing it, meaning this is valid and real, period. It matters, period. It doesn't have any other, that there's no dismissing it. We stop dismissing it and we start leaning into it and allowing it to be. So one way we can do that is one, the legitimization practice. Like, I acknowledge that this was real. Of course I feel empty or lonely or sad. I was neglected. I was ignored. I wasn't included. Of course that's there. That's an understandable result for what I've been through, right? That is legitimization. That is an endorsement of our feelings, of our experience. Basically, we're becoming our own emotional ally when we do that. This is part of how we reclaim that experience. And in that reclamation of our experience, we're also reclaiming our pain. Because our pain is valid. Our pain is important because it's a guidepost along the path in our life. And our pain, the pain we feel in response to being rejected, to being ignored, to being abused, to being used, to being discarded, is completely valid and real. And it's important to connect with it and legitimize it and allow it to have space, allow it to take up space within us. Currently, I'm doing this experimental process called the Somatic Awareness and Release Practice, or SAR. And this is what we're practicing, is learning how to receive our pain and reconnect with it and allow it to be valid and see what else comes into our awareness as we do that. Very, very powerful so far. I mean, several people in the test group have reported big shifts in things that they've been stuck in for decades. And that's just one class. So we'll see what this does over the next 6 to 8 weeks. And it's free. You can sign up. The link is below on YouTube and above on Facebook. It's just the SIR practice link. Click it. It's free. It's on Mondays. So you can show up practicing. You can also follow along because the recordings are posted there too. This gets us back into reclaiming our pain, reclaiming our experience, which leads us into that legitimization. But then the next step is that I get to be real, which means now I get to say yes and no to the things that matter to me. This is where our self-advocacy comes in. This is where the inner warrior shows up. And it says, nope, I'm not tolerating that behavior anymore. This is where we stop believing the words the other person tells us, and we start believing the experience that we're having, because our feelings about the way we are being treated are valid. Okay, that's critical. Our recall of the experience matters. It may not be complete, but nor is theirs. This is really about going towards understanding rather than being right or wrong. Especially with healthy people, they typically want to go towards understanding. They want to go towards connection. Whereas people that are in a defensive state, people who are trying to manipulate or control you, people who are wounded individuals who don't have the capacity yet to connect and work out a conflict, they're going to go towards right and wrong, my side of the story, your side of the story. That's just how you see things. I'm sorry you feel that way, that kind of stuff. It's not going to be towards connection and understanding and building intimacy and trust. It's going to be about defining territory and control. And that's going to be destructive to the trust and vulnerability in a relationship. So, we want to move towards understanding as long as the person is healthy. And there's very specific criteria to that that I'll actually be discussing in our next series of trainings that starts next week as we prep for the relationship strategy. And it's opening here this coming Monday. So keep in tune with that if you want to discover those fundamentals, because I'll be giving you those trainings. But for today, it's about retrieving the experience. My experience mattered. What I felt mattered. What I went through mattered. The pain I experienced mattered. I matter. That's what we want to bring back into your world, is that you matter. Your experience matters. Your feelings matter. What you've gone through matters. And this is what I mean by reclaiming your experience. Allow it to be real. Consider giving up seeking validation through others in a way that gives you permission to believe your experience. Instead, consider looking at it as, I believe my experience, and now I'm going to share it and see who will hear me and will understand me and will care about it. And that's key right there, because that's a switch. That's self-advocate position rather than the codependency position. The codependent position is, I had an experience, I'm going to tell the person that I had the experience with, and if they don't validate me, then I'm going to feel like I don't matter, or I'm not real, or I'm not loved, which that one might actually be true. But often we actually translate that to, I'm not lovable. And that is, in fact, not true. So if we're in an experience with someone who is unable or unwilling to acknowledge what we experienced with them in the situation, that's a red flag, guys. Healthy people want to understand it. Healthy people want to build towards connection. Now, sometimes even in healthy relationships or healthy people, they're like, well, we went through an experience. We have very different points of view on it, and they may not be reconcilable, but that was generated through understanding and not through control, manipulation, gaslighting, or denial, and things like that. Now, this is a high bar. And this is vulnerable communication. This is a willingness to really show up. And if we do that on our end, then what happens is we get an honest experience in the relationship with that other person. And that's the point. That's the goal, is to have an honest experience so that we can make effective choices about where to go with that person in our lives. So that really depends on us reclaiming our experience, reclaiming the validity of what we've gone through, what we feel, and that they matter, period. Guys, it's not about, oh, well, maybe I matter in this and I don't matter in that. No, you matter. And their side matters too. But it's not about theirs mattering more than yours or yours mattering more than theirs. It's about both sides mattering and both sides working to understand each other and what we're really going for. One thing I found back when I was doing couples work is that the couples typically wanted the same thing. They just wanted it in a different way. And that gets back to the fundamentals of how relationships function. You have a what component, a how component, and then you have the who component. So the what is what you want, the how is how you want that what to work, and the who is whom you're interacting with to get that want fulfilled. And when the hows really differ, that's where you get a lot of conflict or incompatibility in your world. And that can be really, that kind of drama, that kind of chaos, that kind of problem can be reduced deeply by first understanding the validity of your experience and working to stand on your side so that you don't have to gaslight yourself anymore. That's kind of the point, right? So today, guys, think about what you can reclaim in your experience that you have denied or ignored, whether it's pain, whether it's joy, whether it's successes, whether it's gifts, whether it's accomplishments or failures. Allow those things to be seen and valued for what they are. And if you struggle with that, check out the SAR practices. They're linked above on Facebook and below on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Guys, I appreciate you. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. And I will see you in our next training video. Goodbye, my friends. Have a great day.